Well, since we've been away, I had to blow away my computer, mainly because of what's call it of oh now why are you not working now?
God, it's not like we haven't recorded in, I don't know, nearly a month.
Tell me about it. Oh no, so I've been having issues that every time I've hang on one sec.
No worries.
No, so I've been having issues every time oh now fucking this isn't recording. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're done now. No, so I've been having issues every time I've done a Windows update.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It just meant that what I had to do was I had to keep stopping it because it was having some issues. Why am I having double feedback? Why are you picking up both? Fucking stupid. Fucking. I hate computers sometimes. Yeah, so for some reason it's picking up. Okay. No, so you're going to pick that up as well. Okay, let's have a look. No. Why are you picking up both? That's really weird. For some reason, it's picking up my mic as a separate output.
Interesting.
Okay, let's have a look. That's better, I think. Can you just talk for us?
Yep, no worries, brother. I can speak lots of different
Oh,
words.
there we go.
There we go.
I think we're sorted.
Are we cooking on gas? Cooking on gas.
I say so, but I don't know. But at least now I can't see my other thing. But no, so I've since probably November last year, every time I do a Windows update, the next time it comes on, the screen comes up as black. There's no Explorer bar. You can't do anything. It just like locks you. And I'm like,
That's interesting. That's odd.
yeah. So
That's
that
really
happens.
odd.
It happens. It happens. Supposedly it happens a lot. Like having a whole heap of people trying to look into it. I've followed all these different steps to eventually I just made sure that at the start of every month I'd run this program
Yeah.
that would hide the thingo. But the
Okay.
problem was, I was just like, this is ridiculous. And a few people said, I reached out to Windows, they were able to fix it. So I reached out to Windows and I was like, sweet. And she's like, yeah, these should be able to do it. And she went through about 30 things. And then she's like, okay, so that didn't work. The only thing we can do is X. And I'm like, yeah, but the problem is if we do X, are we going to be able to revert if it doesn't work? And they're like, yeah, no, not a problem. Easy done. So she did it. Sure enough, it didn't work. So we tried to revert back and there was no thing. So I had to do a whole new clean install. So
Yeah.
like all my bookmarks were gone, half a dozen of my programs were done, and I'm like, so it took me like probably about 7 or 8 hours to get everything back up and running, and it just hurt my soul.
Okay. All right. Well, if it is
So that's
working,
why that's why all my lighting's all off. That's why the when I tried to log in, friggin' none of the sound works. I'm like, being a podcast shouldn't be this fucking hard.
being a
Damn
podcaster is
you.
always this hard. People need to see this. We might have to make sure I'll leave this bit in so people can see how bad
Oh,
it is. But yes.
it was just yeah, it's a nightmare.
Right. Anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. No, we haven't broke up. The band is still together because someone did message me asking, "Are you two like not talking anymore, not doing anything?" It's like,
Who said that?
oh, just a random friend who does watch it all the way out in Australia, sort of thing. So it was just sort of said, "Hang on, where's the latest episode? It's been weeks," and I'm like, right. I had to explain that, of course, we try to keep ourselves with a buffer. That's what we always try and do when we record these
Yes.
sessions, all right? We like to have a buffer. There's no problem with that. However, what happens is, obviously, our buffer ran out when I got back from the UK.
Yep.
And, of course, I landed on the Friday. I was dead. I was dying still. Even on the Sunday, I was so jet lagged and horrible. I literally said it. I literally messaged Dez and said, "Listen, brother, I'm so sorry, but I can't do it today." I said, "I am in not fit state whatsoever." You know, it would have been. I could have been on, but it would have been a zombie version of me. It wasn't pleasant. You know, it would have
Yeah,
been
and
bad.
considering how much he carries this, yeah, we can't not do it.
And then, of course, so it was like, right, don't worry, we can skip a week. It's fine. And then the next week is I can't do our usual time slot just because something came up. And I was like, right, fine.
Yes.
Message Des, can we record later? Because normally that's not an issue, but of course it's the one goddamn day that you've got a family dinner.
Oh, because the worst thing is, so I had to drive about 45 minutes out of my way to pick up my sister because her car's playing up, and then drive back literally past my house to get to my uncle's house, and I'm like, for Christ's sake! So I had to leave early. So it wasn't like so for anybody like Jordan didn't want to like it wasn't like I need to record at 6 p.m. like at dinner time. It was like 4, but the problem was I had to leave at about 4:30 to get there. So it was going to be the world's shortest episode, and I was like,
it just wasn't going to work out forever. So we sadly now haven't recorded for like 4 weeks in total. Yeah. So we need to build that buffer up again. So the next episode will be, we do apologise for the delay in the episode. Do not worry. We are looking forward to it. But anyway, this is Dorks Down Under. This is season 4, episode 13, ladies and gentlemen. And basically today we're going to be discussing all the movies I kind of watched while I was traversing the world, sort of thing. It's luckily I did have a decent-ish movie selection, thank God. Wasn't entirely up to date with some of the latest. I was hoping the Thunderbolts would be on there, but it wasn't. I did watch the Thunderbolts when I got back, though, because finally my completely legal website had given me a half-decent copy to watch, so I was able to watch it. Weird.
I found that as well. Like there was one or two that came out when it first came out of the movies, and it was... They were like so unwatchable. It was so hilarious.
Bad. So I was like, "Nah."
And then about a month later, not even, maybe 2-3 weeks later, they released another one. I'm like, I'm not even going to download this. And then Jordan's like, it's actually pretty good. I'm like,
yeah, it was actually fairly decent. It wasn't too bad. So yeah, but we've certainly got a whole list of things to discuss that we watched, sort of thing. But apart from that, before we get me traipsing into my opinions on certain movies, how have you been, pal? You're all good?
Yeah, good, mate.
You missed
good,
me.
Yeah.
You missed me.
It has been nice to have my Sundays back. I was like, yes. I don't have to get up. Don't have to put underwear on. It's fantastic. This is great.
You mean you didn't appreciate me sending you eating the Greg sausage roll?
That was the greatest thing ever. So yes. if you are listening to this podcast, you know that I do have an unhealthy love affair for Greg sausage rolls, and it breaks my heart that I only discovered them about 6 or 8 months before I left. And that was mainly because one of the places I was staying at, there was a Greg's nearby. And to be fair, there wasn't much to eat in the area. The local supermarket, like you look at their sandwiches, and I'm like, I don't think these sandwiches have been eaten like this year, let alone this week. I'm like, yep, no. So I was like, I don't know if I'm brave enough to eat them. And then there was a Greg's. I was like, fuck it, I'll grab a sausage roll. And since then, I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. Like to the point where on my lunch breaks, I used to drive. So there was a great little video that just rocked up, and it was just Jordan eating a Greg's sausage roll. And it was funny. And he's like, here you go, mate. And he shows us a sausage roll he bites into. He's like, oh. And you can tell that it wasn't planned. He just bit into it, and he's like, fuck, they're so good again. And I'm like, that's Greg's, the power of Greg's.
Your reaction of just a thumbs up was fine. My son's reaction to the same video that I sent him, he was livid. He said,
I wasn't happy.
He said, why are you trying to ruin my life? Was his response.
Wow.
And I tell you what, it tastes even better. It tastes so good when he's like, But yeah, honestly,
that was the greatest thing about it, because it wasn't just like he was like, "Yep, I'll send it to him, fantastic." But then it was that bit at the end where he took a bite and he's like, "Oh," as if you could just be like, he's just like, oh, I remember how this tastes. This is so good. Like it was like almost like I'm buying this just so I can show you because you've asked me to. And then it was a bite, and he's like, I've got no regrets whatsoever. No, this is the greatest thing ever.
Honestly, I was actually amazed. I only put on 2 kgs my entire trip.
That's pretty good, actually.
And I'll tell you what, I was out at the pub. It was such nice weather. I was in beer gardens most of the time. Sort of thing, just chilling out and drinking loads and having some good food and good.
Responsibly, of course, for those people.
Oh yeah, yes, entirely responsibly.
Or 21 in America, which still.
Yeah. But I got. To be fair, I'm actually surprised I only put on 2 kgs because one night I ended up. Me and my dad went to the kebab shop And I just wanted a portion of meat. I didn't get the full thing. I just ordered a portion of chicken shawarma. My dad ordered a couple first. He got in before me. He ordered his. And I said, he was about to box mine up. And I said, oh no, can you leave it open because I want to eat it. Now I'm starving. He went, all right, no worries, pal. And then he went, oh, hang on. And he looked at his watch and I was like, okay, what's the watch for? Then he realised it was shooting time. He said, I'll give you all the rest of this. And dumped the rest of the buckets into this thing. I had about 4 portions worth. And I ate the entire goddamn thing.
Like living the dream.
Oh yeah, it was living the dream. But until the next morning when I woke up and my stomach was just, I was like, oh God, why? What did I do? And then,
I was gonna say you were full. You weren't sick, hopefully.
oh no, I wasn't sick, but oh God, you know
That's
when
okay.
you've just eaten so much before you go
Yeah.
to sleep and you know it's a bad idea. And the consequences caught up with me the next morning, and I was in absolute agony for about an hour, going, "Oh, why did I do that?" Couldn't have had half, couldn't have saved it. Nah, let's just scoff the entire thing. But yeah,
It'd be rude not to. Like seriously, you may as well. And to be fair, it's there. It would honestly be rude not to.
but yeah. But anyway, let's get to movies. Movies.
I was gonna say. Speaking of movie stars, 1st have you seen what is being sold by young Sydney Sweeney first?
No.
You know the blonde, quite busty one that was in. She was in what is it? Miss Webb or whatever that is. The Spider Web, the Madam Web, as well as quite a few other things.
Okay.
She is quite well endowed, shall we say. And people keep saying things to her like, I'll drink your bath water and this, that, and the other. So she is now
Yes.
selling a limited run of 5,000 soap bars made with her actual bath water.
Oh my God. Oh, it's by
she's-
Dr. Squatch as well.
So they're kind of cashing in on that as well, which is just next level insane.
Right.
Obviously, we had what was it? Was it Bella something that didn't actually sold her bath water as well, and then
God knows, honestly, there
I
are
don't know. There was
there's
there's some
depraved
other.
idiots out there. So how many bars have you ordered, or do I have to ask?
Well, I mean, I was second in line, so I didn't get one, but the rest of mine, no.
The rest of mine. There we go.
I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I recently, while you're away, actually, I have watched a lot of movies, but I also recently won something that was 10 Shades of Stupid. So, I won a Jason mask and a Jason jersey from like Friday 13th,
Okay.
signed by the original one, which I got
Yeah.
I got well excited from, thinking it was going to be the guy that's been Jason in 90% of them.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not. It's the little kid Jason that was in it. So the little kid that played Jason in the first one,
Yeah.
and I think he did play it in the first movie. He actually ended up playing Jason in one of the first or second movies, and he's had like little roles within it. He also has a heavy metal band that's made after it as well. Like he's made his entire career on it.
Okay.
But I actually won a signed mask and signed jersey of it, and it's like just 10 shades of dumb. And it arrived literally yesterday when I got home, and I'm like, that is fucking
You need to
hilarious.
get in a display case for your office, brother. That's what you need.
I know. Oh man, I've already got too much stuff. So like, if you can see behind me.
Yeah, I can
There.
see. I can see the little pile there. Yeah.
So that doesn't help because I end up getting drawers for my cupboards that are there to the point where I'm like, I've got 76, so I ordered 70 centimeter ones, but they go right in and they're packed with tech and different things. And Cherish was like, if anything doesn't last, I'm going to murder you. And I'm like, oh God. So I'm actually trying to sell some of the tech as well. And then I sold a couple of things and I was like, yes, there's room. And then this thing rocked up, which is a 42-inch curved monitor from Dell. So I just sent one back and then it's arrived. That being said, I will have to give that back, which is sad. And then just above it are their brand new headphones that are meant to be phenomenal and about $300-400.
Ooh.
So I'm like, that's fine. I'll send them back. And he's like, no. And then he goes, oh, no, you can keep the headphones. I was like,
I suppose for cleanliness purposes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's going to murder me. And I'm like, because like I've got a pair of the Razer Kraken V4 Pros that I've been using.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Like I've used them for the first time, and you can actually set them up with the what's it called, the Freya. So when you're playing games, the Freya will actually vibrate in different areas. I think I spoke to you about this.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, but what's funny too though is you can turn the headphones and you can actually turn that on as well. So for example, if there's a blast here, this ear cup will actually vibrate as well.
Yeah. Cool.
And I'm like, this is so gimmicky. And then I started playing. I can't remember what I was playing now. I was playing something, and all of a sudden, someone was shooting at me, and I could feel, and I could feel the thing vibrated, and I literally just turned around in a split second and shot
Yeah.
him because I could hear with it. I'm like, this is so amazing. I'm like, gimmick or not, I think I'm in love. But yeah, so yeah, Paul Cherish is going to murder my soul if anything else rocks up, because it's now back at being full.
It's all right.
Um,
It's all right. You'll be
but
fine.
yes,
We'll be fine. You could just hide it. You just gotta hide it. You gotta wait. You gotta
I,
time it right. You gotta time it right.
I'm legitimately trying to, but then she keeps finding me. I'm like, oh crap. Like, yeah, there's another thing that I can't show or can't say because it's under embargo, but it is
Okay.
cool as shit, and I'm actually excited to play with that.
Cool.
Another Razor thing, but I'm like, but she saw that and she's like, where's that? I was like, it was in my room, sitting sort of in my cupboard, in my wardrobe, in a little drawer there. And she was like, it was open like this much, like just not perfectly. So she opened it to see what was in it, and I'm like, busted already. I'm like, she just knows. You can just sense these things.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, you want to talk about movies, but I must say
Yeah.
my movie selection of late have been insane. I've been going back and watching old favorites.
I have as well. Well, I
But then,
being on the plane, I was like, oh, I just didn't fancy watching some new stuff. I just kind of wanted to switch off and be able to.
yeah, but have you been going back and watching all of them? So I just watched all six Universal Soldiers.
Oh bloody hell, Jesus!
Yeah, so the two and three doesn't even has the same lead character in it, but doesn't actually have Van Damme in it,
Yeah.
which just makes it even funnier. And they were straight to video, and it shows. I watched what else did I watch? I watched the five Death Races, which is really
Oh my
bizarre.
god, that's terrible as well.
The,
Jeez.
the the third and fourth isn't too bad with Luke Gross, and then they've got Death Race 50-50 that looks like it's like this cartoon kind of like over the top. Oh, it is
Okay.
horrific. And then they have the fifth Death Race that goes back and kind of still has Frankenstein. Both of them have Frankenstein, but it goes back and it's kind of now like the whole of LA is a prison, and it's so weird because you've gone gritty, 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 like almost like pop kind of weird, and then that. I also have the Tremors that I want to rewatch soon.
Oh, I do want to watch Tremors again. I haven't watched it in years.
So I've got all seven of those. And also, obviously, we have heard that rumors that there is going to be a
There's
TV
a TV
series.
series. Yeah, I heard about that while I was away. I was like, yeah, sign me up.
So the
That
TV
sounds-
series was due to be out. We spoke about that, and it was originally signed on, and then they filmed a pilot, but it never went anywhere. Like it never saw the light of day. And now they've recently revisiting that, and Kevin Bacon is coming up. So he's been in the first film, and now he's going to be back in this. So it's going to be
That'll be good.
insane.
That's gonna be sweet.
And then I've also downloaded the five Scorpion Kings.
Oh Jesus.
I don't know why I found this thing and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then it was like, what was it? It was a thing that said blockbusters with bad sequels. So I clicked on it, and I had all these ones, and I'm just like, and not even
Who
like
classes
some
the
of them
first
aren't
one
too
as
bad.
a blockbuster?
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
Who
I
classed the
wasn't really
first
cool.
fuck Scorpion King as a blockbuster? It was shit. Everybody
Yeah, but
thought it was shit.
it was pretty big after the Mummy.
But it was. Everyone had high expectations for it, but it was terrible. It was awful.
Sorry, and the other one I also watched was what was it? Deep Blue Sea 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Number two is average. Number three is actually pretty good, surprisingly.
Okay.
And Starship Troopers 1, 2, and 3.
Oh,
Number two is
number
horrific.
2 is horrific on that, and number 3, it had hope. Apart from you only get to see the mechs at the very end, it was just like, oh god. I understand
Yeah.
why, because we know how much CGI does cost to do, but god, it was pointless. The third one, funnily enough, I know that because of obviously all the Helldivers thing, there was talk about them doing it as a TV series or something. I
Yeah,
heard about that.
that'd be sick.
But apparently that might get kiboshed for a Helldivers TV series instead, because they feel like that's got more stuff they could do with it, sort of thing, which should be quite interesting, I think, actually. It'll be quite interesting
Yeah.
to see.
But yeah, so unlike Jordan, who has been watching stuff that's a little bit more recent, I've been diving back into the
Scraping
horseshit
the barrel.
pile
Scraping the
just
barrel is what you've been doing, brother. Scraping the barrel.
It's great. They're so good though, and they're so bad at the same
Yeah.
time.
Right, anyway, let's get to some newish movies. The first one I want to discuss is Kraven the Hunter.
Oh,
Now, Oh, don't look at me like that. Right, okay, right. Listen, I will actually say this was actually quite a good movie.
Oh, really?
It was actually. Don't get me wrong. It's got some problems. It's got some problems. Especially, all right. The one thing I would have loved to have seen that they didn't obviously touch on was they didn't mention anything regarding a Spider-Man. Now we can naturally assume that this is a Craven in a different multiverse. Maybe there isn't a Spider-Man. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. We can assume that.
Maybe there isn't a Quicksilver either.
But it kind of just like why wouldn't you just a little thing like again as we've said we don't expect much, just have it on the Daily Bugle playing on the TV and J. Jonah Jameson about the spy, or have it as the banner saying the Spider-Man strikes again, or some just anything. You don't even need to show which Spider-Man we're dealing with, just there's a Spider-Man, it could be cool. But
I think what's happened too though is I think because of Sony making it, not
yes,
DC, not Marvel, sorry. I do think they're trying to just put a little bit of distance to see how it goes before it goes somewhere else. And yeah, and I think I'm going to guess the easiest way to bring Spider-Man and him together would be for somebody to go Kraven the Hunter, go after Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man obviously
yeah.
gets away, and that's how it starts. But you're like,
I mean, the
yeah,
fact is that they obviously were trying to set it up for a sequel. They were.
yes,
You could kind of see how they're doing it, but it's like, it just didn't quite work, in my opinion. Like, the ending was a bit, and it just didn't kind of... I understood where the ending was going and everything else, and you're like, oh, that kind of wraps everything up, especially with his brother, the chameleon, which is quite cool. The fact is that I loved that they actually pulled off that classic 90s cartoon / comic book look for the chameleon. It looked
yes.
amazing, sort of thing, so I thought that looked really good. But it would have been interesting to see a bit more of it. I reckon it. In terms of the action was all good. Like the way it was shot, like the potion bit, but it was a bit of a why you needed it a second time didn't quite make sense. I know she was saying it was meant to heal him again, but it was a bit odd. So I kind of once he's had the potion once, it's like it kind of said, oh, it makes him this big, strong, and tough, and blah blah blah, and X, Y, and Z, and it just never needed to be said after that. And so it's like, okay, so why does he need it a second time? They never mentioned healing properties the first time round.
Quick healing, mate. You just need a little bit of extra quick healing.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. But anyway, apart from that, I quite liked it. It was all right. I would actually give it a solid 8. A solid 8.
Shit.
Honestly, the only thing I knocked it down on is I didn't like the rhino. I liked the way it looked overall, but it just... I think it would have been better to make him a bit more menacing. Like, make him like a bit more Jekyll and Hyde sort of esque. Like him, do something more with that. That's the problem that I think went wrong.
I don't mind. I actually quite liked the way it was handled, where it was almost like a skin disease that obviously had taken over and stuff. And
no,
I
it
did
wasn't.
like
He wanted. What was it?
Yeah,
he said,
not like a skin disease, but you know what I mean.
He went to the doctor because he wanted to get modified and all that, but then he's modified with the rhino complex and everything else, but he becomes stronger, tougher hide, everything else. But of course, it causes him immense pain. It's like, why? You don't need to. Literally, they don't even need to mention. That's kind of. Surely it would have been more noticeable to find him if he actually looked like a rhino the entire time. So why could they just say, I take this serum so it reverses the effect so I can look human?
I like the idea of the pain element, to be fair, because I think that the good thing about that, though, is that like he, in theory, could walk around as a giant rhino and be able to just be a menace to society. But I think also, I do think it was a good thing because it shows this almost like double sword of why he does it, and obviously that he needs to do it for X or Y. And to be fair, compared to the one that we got last time, like at the Sam Raimi one, like
oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong, in comparison to the Rhino suit one, which is more in line with the comics because the Rhino does wear a suit, sort of thing. So that is more in line with the comics. So I quite like the adaptation of this. I think they could have just they could have done something a bit more with it a little bit. I think they should have been a bit more menacing because he felt a bit too comic reliefy at points, and I'm like, I'm not getting evil layer guy sort of thing. It wasn't quite gelling with me.
Yeah.
So I'm scoring it an 8. Score it a solid 8 sort of thing.
Which is still high for you.
That is high. I think there was potential with it. I think if they had adjusted a couple of things, maybe have Spider-Man mentioned, not seen, but mentioned, could have gone a long way. Because even Morbius had the thing in the background with, Spider-Man. It was one of the pictures of Spider-Man murderer written on. They could have just had that. They could have anything. It could have worked, in my opinion. But, c'est la vie. Sort of thing. So Kraven the Hunter was definitely good. And I do like on Rotten Tomatoes how, as usual, the critics hate it. But Popcorn Meat is up to 72. So,
It's higher than I thought it would get, to be fair. But I think, as I said, I actually quite liked it. I thought it was really good the way it handled. I liked the elements with the animals, but it didn't lean so much into that it kind of became it was a thing without being that's his only power, that's the only thing he's good at, and that's what I felt like it could have been. But I like the elements that it added, and the animals did play. It's kind of like with Ant-Man a little bit, but I felt like with Ant-Man they did overdo the ants in, I think it was 1 or 2 or something.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. But to be fair, the one problem with him using his power reminded me, there's a character in DC, and they have this special amulet, and it gives you powers of whatever animal you name, sort of thing. So if you name like,
is that a Native American one?
No, it might have been, but I can't remember now. But basically, this amulet's been passed down for generations and everything else, and it gives you, like, if you touch it and you say elephant, you embody the spirit of an elephant, but you can charge full. You got the full strength and ram up, all that jazz.
Vixen, is it?
Vixen. That's it. Yep. Yeah. So
I was going to say, you've also, weirdly, it says here you've also got Animal Man. So when I typed in DC characters with animal power and Vixen. I'm like, I remember that one. But it's Animal Man, Beast Boy.
Oh, Beast Boy.
But then it also, and then it also goes Gorilla Grodd, King Shark, Killer Croc. I'm like,
yes,
they don't really have the power of animals. They kind of
are the animal,
borderline animals,
definitely. But Vixen's the one I'm thinking of with the special amulet. But so overall, it was good. It was semi decent, and it was quite easy to watch on the plane as well, especially because I was watching before I went to sleep, so it wasn't too bad. But
I actually expected you to hate that, to be fair. So I'm like well impressed and a little bit surprised at the same time.
Acting was good. Acting was solid as well. Quite liked it. But so the next newer movie was Moana 2.
I love Moana. It's so good.
Now I'll tell you now.
I also love that we had like some Australian First Nation people and Aboriginals there. I was like, yes.
Yep. No, I have to say, it's an okay movie, but it's not as good as the first. It's typical sequel behavior. It's all right. It's watchable, but I don't feel like it did much, quite frankly.
See, I really enjoyed it.
It was all right, but the fact that Moana now becomes a demigod as well, sort of thing, it was a bit.
She's not really a demigod as such.
She's got the power. So now, with her tat and everything.
Oh at the end,
she's now become a demigod, sort of thing.
Yes.
Which is I mean, obviously they've also set it up for with the end credits. They've set it up obviously for a third one to come out, featuring that the big bad storm god, Matey Boy, whatever his name was. I forgot his name.
Matey Boy. That's his new name, Matey Boy.
Matey Boy. Yeah. But
see, I really enjoyed Moana too. I thought it was a great little follow on from it. I know people, like, there have been a few people that have shat on it and been like, oh, it should have been X or should have been Y. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I don't think it was never going to live up like so many other films. When you see the first one, you get introduced to the character, you get that wowed from the character. And then the problem is when it comes in, you've got to find a way of readjusting those colours to be bigger and better. But it's not always easy because now you know what to expect. And I still think it held up. Yes, was it as good as the first? No. Maybe not. But do I think it was still a very solid sequel? 110%.
Personally, what I think they should have done is I think Moana 2 should have been a TV series on, like, adapt it to make it a TV series on Disney Plus. sort of thing. So it's doing all this storyline, giving you all this because there's lots of information in this movie. Sort of, it's more
Yeah.
background, and then you could have had say the third film that comes out with the big bat with Matey Boy. That's the second movie. It's like a big punchy thing, and if you've got, and Disney suddenly they're driving sales to go watch Disney Plus to see, well, hang on, who's this guy X, Y, and Z? Because they could have had a little blurb, but it would have been better to see the TV series and it all lay out as it went and everything else. So I think that's the only thing I would have suggested quite different. But
Yeah, no, I think you're wrong.
overall, I'm gonna say a 7 because just storyline. I wasn't a hit. The fact that and Maui was a bit shit in it as well, sort of thing. It was a bit too. It felt a bit phoned in by the writing team with using the Rock.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the hardest thing with The Rock as well. Like, I mean, as I said, there's a new movie coming out where he plays a boxer or something, and it looks like for the first time ever he's actually going to try to act rather than come out with like I'm just The Rock kind of thing. And I feel like I'm excited to actually see that because he actually has hair, he's got slight prosthetics to change his appearance ever so often, and he seems to actually be putting in some some effort rather than just. I feel like for a lot of times he was just phoning it in.
Okay.
So, what's that?
After.
Maybe it's a UFC one.
As I say, I'm just having a look.
It might be a boxing or the Smashing Machine. It's called.
The Smashing.
So Mark Carr, the Smashing Machine, is the gentleman that he's playing, and if you have a look at pictures of him and stuff, he actually looks very good compared to him. So I'll send this.
Oh my god! I'm just legit. I'm on Rotten Tomatoes and I've just clicked through to the Smashing Machine. He looks almost Andre the Giant.
Esque, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so I've sent you a photo of obviously Mark Kerr with the medallion with his gold medal on and stuff, and then have a look at The Rock in the movie, and he's actually done a very incredibly good job with it.
Yeah, actually, yeah. No, I can. We can happily give you that. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
But it does seem like he's not just being The Rock, which is kind of nice. Because I feel like he has copped a lot of flack where it just feels like this is a Rock movie where it stars The Rock pretending to be named Mark Jefferson or whatever the bullshit name they've given him that nobody really cares about.
Yeah.
And if you ask what was his name in the movie, people are like, I don't know, it was just The Rock. And I feel like this is what he needs to do. He needs to break out of some of that. I'm The Rock.
Well,
The Rock
he
this,
is
The Rock
typecast, and that's the problem. He needs to get past that right now.
But what's the weird thing is too is even when he's not typecast, and they've asked him, "I want you to be like a riverboat captain," or "I want you to be like X or Y," he's still just I'm The Rock.
Yeah. That's the problem. The problem is that he's typecast in his personality, and that's the problem. Is that there's no range to him. There's a little bit of range. Don't get me wrong. In fact, back when he first started acting, back when he was still primarily a wrestler. He had a better range because he was so goofy because he knew how to be this bigger personality and everything else. Like, what was it? What was that movie I'm thinking of? Race to the Witch Mountain? I think it is.
Oh, yeah.
Back in that day, he could do character expression a hell of a lot more and stuff like that, which was quite good. But yeah.
Yeah, but I think the problem is as his personality grew, I think...
Well,
and as he became bigger and as he became more of a figure and more of a thing, people also use that because they're like, if we get The Rock in, he can put it on his social media. His social media goes crazy for it. Then we've got an instant hit on our hands, which is 100% what you should be doing because it's true. That's what happens. But that being said, though, it became so much so that you're just like, oh my God, really? Like,
yeah, I agree. I mean, I have to say, to get back, obviously, to the movie of Moana 2, I would say I'm going to give it an 8 again, sort of thing. Because it was good, but it could have been better, I think. But it was all right to watch. It was a great time killer, sort of thing. It didn't require much thought. I like the coconut people.
I know. They're hilarious.
Coconut people.
That's what I think they did really well in this one, where they had Moana grow and kind of like obviously the people around her grow and understand. But then they added in some characters because in the first one it was literally Moana, Maui, a chicken, and a pig, and that was pretty much it. And you got to really understand her and stuff, but then you didn't really get to understand her people and where she you got to understand it a bit at the start of the movie, but it didn't really go into it. Where now obviously she is a lot more of a seafarer. There's a lot more
Mm.
focus on her people, obviously the other people. I think also you got a lot of really good side characters that started to come in now
Yeah.
that just added a depth. Obviously the coconut people were absolutely bloody hilarious.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was a much more mature film than the first. And the
Agreed.
first was I'm just going to email. I'm just going to sorry. I'm just going to email. I'm just going to introduce Moana and Maui, put in a couple of jokes here from like the chicken and the cow and whatnot, but wasn't 100% there. Where now they've kind of really pushed
Mm.
that envelope and started bringing a lot more people in, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, agreed. But there's it's going to be interesting. As I said, I think if they had just done it as a TV show, they could have gone really well with it and done a bit more
Mm.
background. It would have been quite cool. But anyway, so yeah, definitely a solid 8. Now the next one, I don't know about to say. I actually really like this movie. This is such. I was literally watched this on the leg back from Singapore to Sydney, and it was so good. This is Paddington in Peru, Paddington 3.
Oh, yeah, Cherish loved that. I tried to get her the first one, and she was like, "Nah." And then as soon as it was in Peru and stuff,
Mm.
and obviously Antonio Banderas and things, she was like, "Oh no, I really want to see this one." And she watched it. She's seen it 3 times. She absolutely loves
Oh,
it. She thinks it's
honestly,
brilliant.
it was really well done, sort of thing. I was pacey. The CGI was on point as usual. The fact that everyone's chasing after everyone's chasing after bloody Aztec gold, but it's actually gold. It's oranges, which is the funny thing.
Oh, I
Sort of
haven't
thing.
seen it, but from everything that I've heard, it's pretty good. Like Cherish ended
Honestly,
up
watch
watching
it.
it twice back to
It
back.
is so funny. It is really funny. The fact is, honestly, so obviously Antonio Banderas is put forward as the bad. He's the bad guy of the movie and everything else. But there is a
Mhm.
big twist with Olivia Colman in the movie. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. It's really good.
Oh,
So
M
yeah,
Night Shyamalan kind of twist.
yes, honestly, it's really good, and I'm actually giving this a solid 9.5. Solid nine and a
Oh
half.
Jesus
The
Christ!
only reason it's not getting a 10 is because they didn't give me any indication there's going to be a fourth, so, that's it. It was really good, and it was so easy to watch, sort of thing. Hey, I think you could actually watch it without watching the other two, if you didn't want to.
Just for your knowledge, there it
Yeah,
says here that Studio Canal has confirmed that a fourth Paddington movie is in development.
good.
The film is expected to be released in 2028,
Bad.
coincidentally with the Bears' 70th anniversary. Additionally, a new
Fine.
TV is also in the works set for 2020. Sorry, yeah, 2027.
Oh, no, they don't need to make it a TV series. You don't need to make it a TV
Yeah,
series.
I don't understand why you'd make it a TV series. Like, if you wanted to do the fourth film and then go into the 2020 and then go
Yeah.
into it, I'd be like, okay, maybe. But yeah, it does seem a bit bizarre
Yeah,
to
no,
be
they
making a
don't.
series prior to making the movie.
They honestly, they can. I wish the movies would stop doing that. Saying, "Oh, we're gonna make a TV series." No, just make another movie. You do not need to make it. That's it. 4 seasons of dragging it out. Just make a bloody movie, sort of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah. But anyway, so those are all the new movies I watched. Well, there's another one which, because you're not a huge anime fan, it was Overlord: Kingdom of the Sacred Heart, but I can't really
Oh
discuss
yeah.
that with you because you've got to watch all 4 seasons of Overlord to understand what's going on. So
Oh, I was so about to do that, but no.
yeah, I know,
Just
I
no.
know, I know. It was good though,
I don't
very
I don't know
good.
what it is. I don't know what it is. Like this like I've seen a few obviously anime style movies like Ponyo and
Mm.
obviously the what was it, that Walking Castle one and a few other
Howl's
things
Moving
and a few
Castle.
ones like that and I like the movies.
Mm.
But just sitting there and watching anime does my friggin' head in. And I don't know if it is because of Dragon Ball Z, where it was like, as I said to you, 15 minutes of this is what happened last week, 15 minutes of what happens next week,
Yep.
and then 45 seconds of actual new footage.
Yes.
But it does my head in because I feel like so
It.
many anime goes for thousands and thousands of episodes, and
Yes.
for some unknown reason, you could probably have done 2 seasons and actually made it like full time rather than just making it the way you did. Like it's
Yeah.
so much back and forth bullshit that
The
just
problem is that
seems to not offer anything.
when they adapt from a manga, when they actually adapt from the manga and they go by the source, then yeah, the mangas are dragged out as well, sort of thing. That's the problem. So There needs to be some some editorial going. Do we really need a 5-minute montage of them powering up? No, right. Well, let's cut that down to like 30 seconds, shall we? And sort of,
But it really is like it's just
yeah,
like so the big bad's here,
yeah.
and then he just talks and monologues for 75 minutes, and I'm like, really, bro? Like this has been 7 episodes of you talking about what you want to do. Nobody gives a shit that much. Like, just fight already, you fuckwit. Like it doesn't feel like it shouldn't be that hard. Like just oh my god. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, and then they fight for like 2 or 3 episodes, and you're like, sweet, something's finally happening. And then he stops. He's like, you're too strong for me. I know what I'm going to do. And then, as you said, spend the next 4 episodes powering up and showing flashbacks on
Yes.
the work that
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
done in
yeah.
the
Pretty
background where
much.
he's like, I'm like, that could have been like a 3 second montage of
We
him
could
practicing
have
and
skipped
stupid
this
shit.
entire thing. Yeah, trust me, I know. So yeah, the other big other movies I watched. So obviously I watched Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame because that's
Yeah.
a great 6-hour killer for flights. I tell you that. Whew.
Oh,
When you don't want to think and you just want to switch off, great. Honestly, because I didn't have Lord of the Rings. I did look. I did look. No Lord of the Rings available and no Hobbits. I was like, oh, for God's sakes. So I think so.
that feels like a good time killer though. That feels like something that would be perfect just
Hey,
to be
listen,
like, yeah,
you know what? I haven't watched Infinity War or Endgame in quite a few years now, so it was actually quite good to go back and watch a good Marvel movie because we've not had a good run recently, sort of thing. So it was quite nice. And
it is weird though. Like I do find it quite weird where yeah, where there just seems to, like, I don't know, there seems to be this weird thing with Marvel now where you're like,
mm,
yeah, I don't know, like, it is hard because you're like, I do think if they had ended at Endgame, they could have taken a break for some time, really
yes,
gone back, really started to work things out.
mm,
Because the problem was they did such an amazing job. And
yeah.
you're just
Oh
like,
no, there
this
was
is
demand
so
for it,
good.
and
Why
then
not just leave it? But then the problem was they went, let's keep pushing it. But now I feel like they've kind of like over pushed it, if that makes sense. Like
yeah,
it just
they've
feels
gone a
like
bit
there's
off the rails.
just
But in fact I did do a really one movie that did pop up, and I had to watch it the second I saw it was available. Was Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back was available to watch, and
was it all of them or just Empire
no,
Strikes
just
Back?
the one. Which, and I'll tell you now, it's my favorite movie of all the Star Wars ones.
Don't get me wrong, it is up there in probably the top two best sequels as far as I'm aware. I think the only one that probably just beats it out would be Godfather 2. Obviously, it won
Oh,
the Academy Award and it is sensational. Like it far exceeds the first. Um,
I don't know if I could put Godfather 2 above
it is.
this.
I
But
do find the Godfather
we
2
won't.
though
We're not
hard
gonna
to
have a
watch.
big fight about this. We're not gonna have a big fight about
No,
this.
no,
But
no. But I do think that my only problem with Godfather is I do think that it's a slightly harder watch.
yeah.
Where I feel like with Empire Strikes Back you can do it, but I do think that it's a slightly better film
Mhm.
overall. But rewatch value, I think Empire Strikes Back takes it
Yeah.
out by quite far.
Although I did, because you know me. I couldn't help but have some critiques while watching The Empire Strikes Back. Now, this may drive some
It's
people
older.
to watch.
It's older than you
Oh no
is,
no no!
bro. Like
I know.
seriously.
Now I even remember watching it before they digitally remastered it, so it didn't look like shit. I remember watching the
Okay.
original version.
I've
Now,
got one here. I got a DVD here that I bought at a car boot sale for $4, and from memory to now, it's worth a couple $100 because what it is it's the original trilogy
yeah,
on DVD, and they only released it. I've been told. I didn't realize this when I got it, but I saw it on an Instagram reel that said if you've got this version, it's worth a couple $100.
mm.
But it has the old footage
Yeah, not the
redone, but
yeah.
not the new changes because all the new ones now have all the new
Yeah,
changes.
yeah, exactly. So, but now, okay, I have a question. Okay, so obviously, I was where was I? So Battle of Hoth starts, right? Luke's in
Yes.
the land speeder. Of course, they're trying to shoot at the AT-ATs, okay, and it is quite clearly stated that the laser cannons aren't powerful enough to get through their armor. That's
Yes.
whatever wording they use specifically, but that is what they say. Okay. Can somebody explain to me how once you've knocked it down off its feet and it lands in the earth, that then this same speeder could come along and shoot 2 shots and it blows up? Can somebody explain?
There were some weak points behind the back. I've seen this argument multiple times, and they said there's some weak points behind the back of the neck, and there were certain elements that the speeders couldn't get high enough to hit. Is what I'm not joking.
No way.
Because I know it's bullshit, but this is what I read on it, and it made me laugh because these guys are going right into it, like it was like full on, like proper, like people going no because of X, Y, and Z, and. That being said, it makes me laugh every single time because I'm like, this is just crap. But if you want to believe it, go nuts, guys.
Yeah.
But according to them, it is because of there's certain elements where I think it was like behind the back of the neck is a soft point, but because the speeders couldn't get up that high, they were unable to shoot them. Also, after it crashed, some of the armors were kinked and they were able to shoot. I'm like, you're telling me that these guys could find the kink in the armor only after it fell?
Yeah.
There is also rumors as well that the things that were shooting weren't actually the lasers; they were the proton torpedoes. Which I'm just like, there's no way you're firing proton torpedoes from there. Shut up, guys.
Speeders aren't equipped with proton torpedoes.
Exactly.
I'm not having that nonsense, I'll tell you that. No,
exactly. I'm like, stop talking bullshit. That's not entirely true, and you know it. So don't do that. But yeah, there was all these things on there, and best thing I love about Star Wars, if you ever have a query like that, Google it. Because
I've just found the Thorin thread, and it goes on and on.
There's a Star Wars thread. It goes on where because they were able to aim at certain softer spots that they couldn't hit from the ground or different things like this. It was just like, oh my god.
One thing, oh my god, I found the greatest comment in response to it, which is, I just accept it as a slight discontinuity and move on. One moment the armor is too strong for blasters. The next 2 shots, I think, and boom! I guess the explosion is more important than continuity.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
And then he says, why didn't they just use X-Wing with proton torpedoes is another question that no one cares to answer that. And that's a good point as well, because they did have some... But yeah,
well, it is weird too though, because then you see him flying off with the speeders and stuff. You're like, wait a minute.
Well,
why don't you help a brother out and just fire a few shots?
Well, one thing I find hilarious as well is obviously with the ion cannon that they're pinging the Star Destroyers with ion cannon, which basically the ion cannon deactivates all the systems and basically. But you quite clearly that the one big shot they show is obviously this. Like, you know, the cruiser and the 2 X-Wings go past. And this Star Destroyer is actually drifting quite quick. And you're like, oh, well, that's been caught in the gravity well. It's like, I would have loved to have seen that thing crash into Earth. It would have been cool.
Some of those things are just funny. Like, and I love how crazy some of these people are for all this stuff. Where you're just like, what the hell, guys? Like...
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I know it's an old movie. Yes, today's day and age, if George Lucas had reshot it later or did it from now, continuity would be up there with the nerds of hang on a minute, and he would have had to come up with a different story. But I do agree with the premise that yes, it looked cool, it was fun, and everything else. But it's just when I'm watching it, I'm like, hang on a minute, hang on a second,
wait a goddamn minute. That's not right.
But it was just funny. As I say, when I was watching, I just couldn't help myself. But yeah. So those are the main movies that I watched. I think I'll probably watch something else in there, maybe Sonic 3 or something, knowing me. But to be fair, the rest of the time I was either asleep because God, it was long flights.
Yeah, they are.
Jesus. No, to be fair, the one that I said was 23 hours wasn't actually 23 hours in the end. That was stupid. Oh yeah, no, what it was. So, of course, it says, I'm boarding at London, Heathrow, and it says to Sydney. I'm like, great, yep. So, my mind, mentally prepped. I am landing, I'm on this thing for 20-odd hours. You know, I'm there. And as the pilot's talking and doing his spiel and everything else and blah, blah, he said, yeah, so we'll be landing at Singapore for our transition flight in approximately... I was like, whoa. What do you mean Singapore? No, I'm going to Sydney. It's like, it suddenly panicked because I heard the word Singapore. I'm like, no. And luckily someone else flagged the airline steward down. I thought we're going to Sydney. She went, yeah, we're landing at Singapore to refuel and stuff and we kick you off the plane for a couple of hours. And we're like, oh, okay, thank God. It's like... So they flew us all the way to... So British Airways flew us all the way to Singapore. We landed Singapore... we were meant to be off for 3 hours, and then we can enjoy the scene, have a good leg stretch and everything else. But we were stuck in a bloody holding pattern above Singapore Airport for nearly
Oh, nice.
an hour and a bit. So by the time we got off, there was a lady at the end saying, "If you're going to Sydney, you've got to be back here in 45 minutes sharp, otherwise we're leaving here." And I'm like, "Fuck's sakes!"
What the hell?
So of course I ran to the toilet and sort of because I changed my shirt, changed shirt, underwear, so just to have a nice, feel a bit fresher while traveling. And I did all
Feel
that.
purdy.
You feel pretty. Did all that and then quickly filled my water bottle up and I was like, great. And then of course you have to go through security again. Like a
Yeah.
little security at the terminal thing. And I'm like, no offense. Why not tell me? Because of course he had to pour all my water. And I said, great. He said, oh, there's another water.
You had to went through security.
Yeah,
I
just
thought you
a
had-
little
oh.
security thing just on our gate thing. And I'm like, why not tell me? Why not say, just FYI, don't buy anything? Because it wasn't just me. Someone else had went up to the shop and bought like a couple of bottles of Coke and stuff. And they were livid, so they said, no, you can't take them through. It's like, what do you mean I can't take them through?
It's so weird though. Like it just.
It was so stupid. But yeah, so anyway, so they took us through, and then, so after, that was the quickest 45, like a 45-minute stop, back on the plane, and then it was like it's only a 7-hour jaunt to Sydney from
So
there.
you went from like Auckland to Singapore down to Sydney.
No. So on the way out, I flew Auckland to Doha, which is it's Middle East, and that was 17 hours. And then Doha to Manchester. So yeah, landed in Manchester, did all the northern thing, blah blah blah. On the way back, I flew out of Manchester to London, London to Sydney via Singapore.
That makes sense because I'm like,
Yeah, London to Sydney via Singapore, and then Sydney straight back to Auckland. Which but by the time I tell you what, once I landed at Sydney, I got my compression socks off because I was just sick of them. I was done. I thought, screw it. I'm only on the next flight for 4 hours. I'll suffer. If I've got to suffer any pains, I'll deal with it. And it wasn't. I was fine after that. But yeah, it was a long journey. And the worst bit was, so I landed back. What time did I land back? I landed back at midday. And I'm like, great. But while I was flying, it'd been confirmed that Ed's rugby game had been moved from the Saturday morning to Friday evening. And I'm like, I don't want to go and be sociable. So I turned up. Of course, I rock up, and all the other parents are like, "Oh, I have a good trip." And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, you seem a bit tired." I went, "I am exhausted. I am."
I literally just got in.
I said, "I have literally just landed." I said, "When did you get in?" Today at midday. I said, that wasn't even the worst bit of my day, though. Do you know what the worst bit of my day was? My bag didn't turn up.
Don't know.
30 minutes I was stood at Auckland Airport going, that bag's gone round 8 times now, and I've seen no other bags turn up on after it. I thought, nah. So I went up to the baggage thing. He said, oh yeah, I found your bag. Great. Where is it? It's on its way to Singapore. What do you mean it's on its way to Singapore? It shouldn't be at Singapore. It should at least be at Sydney by now. What do you mean? And she's like, oh, it looks like they missed loading your bag at London Heathrow. And I was like, okay, all right, fine, fair dues. These things happen. But then my brain was like, hang on a minute. I was on a layover at London Heathrow for 4.5 hours. How does my bag not get loaded? If it was a tight 1 hour turnaround, fair dues. Yeah. These things happen. But you mean to tell me the 4 hours I was at the airport, no one thought of putting my bag near the plane? I was like, what? I was so angry.
Oops. Well, I had that happen. Where was I? I think I was flying to Canada, and I flown Melbourne to Abu Dhabi to Toronto, and I was like, thinking I'm the smartest man alive because this only cost me like this only cost me like $1,100-1,200.
Yeah.
Until I realized that it was 500. It was 25 hours, 24 hours to get there, and it was direct. And I was like, I hate the world. Everybody can die. I don't want to be here. I'm crying. And then I got to Abu Dhabi after 25 hours, and I said to the guy, I'm like, bro, make me the biggest coffee you can. Don't care how many shots you put in it. He's like, long flight. I'm like, from Australia, 25 hours, I got another 24, and I know for a fact I can't sleep on the plane. And the coffee on there is horrible. And he bought me this thing after going to the ATM, and it had 2 handles, and it was about this big, and it made me so happy. And then I had a second one, and the guy's like, I've never seen anybody finish 1, and we put extra shots in there, let alone 2. I'm actually worried about you. And I'm like, you're welcome.
Oh my God, yeah. No, it is, yeah, as it was a long wig. In fact, when I landed at 6 in the morning, sort of thing, which is always a hard one to do. But I managed to stay awake until 9:30 that day. Bear in mind, by the time I got to my friend's place, and I was crashing at hers for the night with her and her husband, she's got the day off from work. She works part time.
She could have driven you to Wine World. Just saying.
No, I wouldn't have survived anyway. But yeah, literally, we ended up going for a pub lunch, and then presided. And bear in mind, she's got work the next day. And she said, "I'm only going to have one or two, and not go mad." I went, "Yep, sure," but I'm going mad because I am. And she went, "Yeah, no worries." She proceeded to join me in going mad, and yeah, by the time her husband finished work and rocked up and found us, he was like, said, "You do realise you two aren't at uni anymore, right?" And we're just giggling and laughing and just enjoying ourselves, like we're pretending we're still young 20s.
You can't tell me what to do anymore.
That's what we
You're
did.
not my real dad.
We were like, "Shut up." We were just like, "Shut up and have a drink." And he's like, "Oh, for God's sakes, you two." So yeah, we got absolutely mullered, and then I eventually just passed out. I literally, we were back at theirs, and he'd gone off to get a pizza, and I was suddenly the day suddenly hit me, and I'm like, right, I need to survive. I had to look at my watch, and I'm like, it's 7:30. I need to go at least till 8:30. So I cracked open another beer and just cracked on through as much as I could, and then went up to my room, and then that was it, lights out, and I was bam. And then I woke up.
I always say that to people. I'm like, no matter what time you get in, try to stay up till the evening. And I'm like, you'll probably fall asleep about 7, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
But you'll sleep for 10, 12 hours, 13 hours. And at least then it'll help with jet lag a lot.
No, I only slept till 5, and then I woke up and I made breakfast and everything else, and then was reading my book, and then, and then I left theirs at about, what time? I left theirs about 8 in the morning, and then got myself to Cumbria, and then just proceeded to carry on drinking the next 7 days away, including the wedding.
How long was I gone? 11 days? Yeah, so I just drank for the next 11 days.
Honestly, it was just the best one. When I turned to the wedding, I only bought one drink, the entire wedding. And that drink, the only drink I bought was for the groom. I bought him the double whiskey shot as it's part of the tradition in our clan. So, all new family members have to go through it. So, but literally, everyone kept handing me a beer at some point. And people kept asking, "Oh, you're the cousin from New Zealand?" And I said, yeah, and just getting asked the same 5,000 questions. But literally, while I'm talking to someone else would rock up and say, "Oh, here you go, Jay." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." It's like,
I have 17. I'm just going to finish them all now.
Literally, I was having to school them at some point because I realised I had like half a one, a full one, and someone was walking over with another. I was like, "For God's sakes!" I was like chugging beers. So,
well, that was the thing. I didn't realize originally that you were is it your sister or niece or something, or whoever's the wedding was.
Oh, my cousin.
Yeah, your cousin didn't actually know you were going because I didn't realize that at the time.
No. No, it wasn't that. No. Yeah, you nearly fucked up. You nearly messed up so badly. So I was surprising my brother and my sister. Everyone else knew I was coming, which was fine. They all kept the secret. Now, we surprised my brother, which was great. But, of course, Ellie posted up a picture because it was Mother's Day. And she posted up a bouquet that I had organised for the kids and blah, 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 blah. Did all that jazz. And it was fine. So the morning of I'm leaving Cumbria, which is I think it was the Tuesday, I'm going to surprise my sister. She doesn't know I'm there. We've been liaising with the boyfriend and everything else. We've got it, groundwork is laid. But suddenly I noticed, Des Mag has commented on Ellie's post. And I was like, click, have a look. And he's like, yeah, the sod for not being in the country with you while not celebrating Mother's Day. And I was like, I am going to throttle you. I was, do you know how lucky we were? Because luckily, it was been a couple of days since. And luckily, Becky only ever keeps tabs on what's happened today. Not adding comments unless you had tagged her in, she wouldn't have seen it. So that's how lucky we were.
Oopsie.
But yes, obviously, if she had responded back to Ellie saying, "What's this about? What's this about? John's not in the country." you know, and we would have to play it. Always doing an audit in the South Island. That's what
I was just doing it to give you grief because I'm like, what an asshole, man. Mother's Day.
I know what
and
you were
everything, and you're
doing,
not
but at
there.
the same time, I was about ready to dial you up and throttle you through the phone. I was gonna.
I wouldn't be the first time. Probably not going to be the last.
Honestly, it was just, I was like, oh dear Lord, no, please, please. I thought, we've not gone this far. Because literally, that was the last thing I had to do. And I felt so good afterwards. I was like so chilled afterwards because I'd done all my surprises then. And all that pressure was just off for the day, sort of thing. So yeah, that was good. But yeah. Right.
Oops.
Anyway, we're going to end it there because we've realised that time is up and everything else.
One thing I do want to add is one movie that I did watch that I actually really enjoyed. And I would love to see your opinion on. Is the new one from Apple Plus with Natalie Portman and John Krasinski. Fountain of Youth.
Fountain of Youth.
I watched this. I've been hanging for this for ages because I have had a crush on Natalie Portman since I was 12 because my mum for some reason let me watch The Professional or Leon by Luc Besson and starring Reno, whatever his name is, who's absolute legend. Let me watch that, and it had an 11-year-old Natalie Portman in it, and I was like, I'm in love. I want to be an assassin. And she stars in this with John Krasinski, and it got a bit of hype when it was first announced because the two of them working together. And it's kind of this Indiana Jones-esque style, almost like National Treasure style.
Yeah.
And I've been hanging for it, and it came out, I think it was the day before we were meant to do the podcast.
Yeah.
And I watched it that night, and I absolutely loved it. And I was like, oh, I've got to tell Jordan about this. But
I'm about to say, no, I wasn't aware of this at all. So I'll have to. Is it a TV series or a movie?
no, it's a movie, so it's just a movie. So you don't have to commit. You only have to commit an hour and a half, but it is a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. But I still just wanted to pick your brain with it, shall we say?
A quick look to see if it's available on my completely legal website.
I've got another one if you need to too.
Let's have a look. Oh, the final.
It should be.
The final reckoning.
It got for the Final Reckoning. I got a decent copy of the Final Reckoning. Weirdly.
Oh, Mickey 17's now in HD as well.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've got it here. It's HD as well. So yeah, I'll be able to watch that. Okay, I'll have to have a watch.
Be rude not to.
It'd be rude not to, indeed. Indeed. Anyway, right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. We'll be back next week where no doubt I'll be discussing Fortnite. I guess I've been playing that. Oh,
Really?
Don't ask. Don't ask. I'll explain next week. I will explain next week. Also, I have been playing a hell of a lot of Helldivers because Super F has been invaded. Superverse has been invaded, but we are pushing them back. Anyway.
Yes.
Right. Okay, peace out, guys. Enjoy yourselves.
Later.
We'll be back next week.
Peace.